would stand and join us for worship today. I'm going to start us off with some prayer. Father God, we just thank you for bringing us in this place to worship you tonight. Lord, each and every one of us have a purpose in this place, Father, and I pray tonight that we just understand that a little deeper. Lord, we love you and we thank you for all that you've done for us today and all of the roads that you've given us that lead us to here, Father God. Lord, I pray that as we go into worship, Lord, that our hearts will be set on you and our minds will be clear for wherever it is that you have for us, Lord. Lord, we love you and we thank you and we praise you in this place. 1,000 generations falling down in worship to sing the song of ages to the Lamb. And all who've gone before us and all who will believe will sing the song of ages to the Lamb. Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. All thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And the angels cry, holy, all creation cries, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. And if you've been forgiven, and if you've been redeemed, sing the song forever to the Lamb. And if you walked in freedom, and if you bear his name, sing the song forever to the Lamb. We'll sing the song forever and amen. And the angels cry, holy, all creation cries, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Hear your people sing, holy to the King of Kings, holy, you'll always be, holy, holy forever. You're Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. All thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. All thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And Jesus, your name is the highest, your name positions. Your name stands above them all, and the angels cry, holy. All creation cries, holy. You are lifted high, holy, holy forever.
Hi, my name is Faith, and I have been free of drugs and alcohol for 12 years. It started as a teenager. I was 14 years old when I started drinking and doing drugs. Um, and it went all the way up until I was about 35. Um, Drugs range from cocaine to meth, um, pills, pretty much a lot. Um, at 15, um, I was supposed to be getting ready for school. A knock on the door, it was the police, and I was taken to jail. And when I was locked up, I was looking at a life sentence um, for a crime I did. Um, but luckily, the judge had mercy and tried me as a juvenile instead of an adult. But then it started an on-roll spiral, hanging with gangs, drive-bys, breaking and entering, continuing drugs and alcohol through this whole thing. In and out of jail the whole time. Spent from 14 or 15 till 18 in jail pretty much. Hurt a lot of people. Lots of people. I can't take what I did away, but I can hopefully have people learn from what I've done. When I was 18, I've not always lived in Saline County. I lived in Faulkner County, and they told my dad I had to be at court at 1 o'clock this day, and they told him that now that I was 18 that I was going to be going to prison for life, because they could do that because that was the original charge and he asked the sheriff, which was my first probation officer, and them what he could do. And they said, if you leave Faulkner County and never come back, we will drop all your charges and not look back. So that's how we ended up in Saline County. Well, then I met people, started drinking again, started doing drugs again, to the on-roll spiral of things. Then I found my cousin who lived in Saline County, and that was a mistake. But continue on, and then I was 21, and I found out I was pregnant with my oldest, Skylyn. So I didn't, I quit hanging around everybody and stuff. But during that whole time, I was really sick. And I know it was because my body was going through withdrawals and stuff from what I had been doing. And I had 3 mini strokes and stuff while I was pregnant with her. And I had her at 7 months. Which then led to having to be on medication for a while after having her because of the pain and stuff that I was in due to that. So there went the addiction to pills again and stuff. Even though I went to work every day and stuff, I still had the problem of doing pills and drinking and smoking weed. To me, I was like, oh, I'm working, I'm okay, I'm not doing meth no more and stuff like that, so I'm good. I wasn't, even though I was functioning like everyday adults did. She didn't see it, so I really knew I was okay. And then I had Michaela and Michael, and after Michael, I had to have an emergency hysterectomy, and there it went again. They prescribed pain pills. So there it went for the next few years of being on pills again. Pills controlled a lot of my life from my kids were young. Even though they didn't know that, they didn't see that. Rick and Amy met me and did not know that. So from about 28 until I was about 35, my kids did not know because I was very functional. Went to work, worked 2 jobs, never missed a practice, never missed a school function, never ever did I. Most people, when they hear my story, they're like, oh, we can't believe that you did this stuff because you never looked like an addict. You never looked like an alcoholic. You never looked like you lived in the streets and did things like that. But I did for many years. And I hold a big regret of my past. That is one of my biggest things I can't get over. I cannot forgive myself for what I did, the people I hurt, because the first charge I ever got was it could have ended up with somebody's life being taken. Thank God it didn't, but it could have. Or any of the drive-bys or any of the breaking and entering and all of that could have ended up a lot worse than what they did. And I was just telling Michaela before we came, I said, you know, I was raised in church when my grandma, a Pentecostal church at that, when I was younger. And then I told her, I said, you know, it's kind of weird that I think about it. No matter what, I always told him, God, I know what I'm doing is wrong. And I know one day I'll find my way back to you, but I don't know when, because I had so much hate for my mom because of what she did to me as a kid and stuff, that I hated everybody. I didn't care who I hurted. I didn't care if I was hurt or whatever. I honestly didn't care if I lived or died at one point, or I wouldn't have been doing that stuff. But I did. But when I really figured out that I needed to change was I didn't want my kids to see it. And I wanted my kids to be better than me. And I wanted my kids to have a relationship with God, no matter what. And when I would try to get clean and sober, I'll never forget, when I first moved here, I met a girl and she went to church. So she invited me, and I went to church for a while. But then when they started asking questions, and when I started to open up, they asked me not to come back. So I didn't want to go to church again. You couldn't tell me there was not a preacher, there wasn't a church that would let me in there and not judge me for what I had did. And Skylyn started going to Benton first, her and Michaela, with Andy and all of them. And Ryan was Skylyn's youth pastor. And she always told me what a great pastor he was and stuff. And then Michaela and Michael. And so whenever I would go to Benton first here and there, but it didn't feel like a church that I needed to be at. And then when Ryan moved here, my kids was like, Mom, we need to go to where Ryan's at. I would come here and there. I mean, I even got saved and baptized here, and I would come here and there. But it wasn't until the beginning of this year I told Michael, I will be going to church. I need that relationship because he holds me accountable for what I do. My kids hold me accountable for what I do. And they've always known my stories. I've always been very honest with my children about my past. And I'm thankful that I did, because I think that's what made my kids want to do better and want to be better. Most kids would be embarrassed of their parents if they knew what they had did. My kids have loved me unconditionally no matter what. And I thank God for my kids, because if it wasn't for them, I know I would have gave up and I would have been in jail or dead. That would have been the life that I would have led if I would have never had Skylin. Even though when I had her, I still drank and I did do pills and stuff. I don't know that it was as bad as before because I felt like I had a purpose. And before then, I had no purpose in my life. There was just no purpose at all because the hate that I had in my heart. And I was at Alexander Youth Service Center, and for almost a year, I had to stay there. And one of the ladies, she said, Faith, why do you do this? I said, I don't know. She said, who has hurt you so bad that you hate the world? And I was like, I don't know. And the more she talked to me and the more she made me open up, I was like, before I was 5, I had more black eyes and busted nose than most people will ever have in their lifetime. I don't go swimming because I'm scared of water because my mom tried to drown me. Tell my people at work, if this building catches on fire, I'm out the door, I'm not helping. Because my mom tried to catch the house on fire with me and my dad in it. So she made me talk this through numerous days in a row. Every day she made me repeat my story of why I had so much hate in my heart for people. And then I had to realize that lady had so much hold on me, and she did forever. And I don't even know why, because she didn't even want me. Like, she wanted my 2 sisters, but she didn't want me. That's crazy. You had me, but you didn't want me. But she wanted my 2 sisters. So, but I hated her so much that I just hated everybody. I didn't care who hurt me or whatever. And once I accepted the hatred that I had for her, it was not easy still to get through life because it still lingered. Because I couldn't talk to her. I couldn't ask her the questions of why were you like this? Why did you do this and stuff? I never got the answers. Still didn't get the answers because she ended up dying. So the answers were she just didn't care. I had to come to realize she did not care. She was just that kind of lady. She did not care about who she hurt or anything because at the same time, she had the same problems I did. She was the same exact. For somebody I hated so much, I had became her. And when I found out I was pregnant with Skylin, I was going to have an abortion because I did not want to be that mom. I didn't want to put my kids through the hurt and the pain and stuff, and I didn't want to be that mom like she was to us, to me. And people ask, do you tell your kids that? Yeah, Skylin knows. Michaela and Michael know. Always 100% honest with my kids about it. Glad I didn't have an abortion or give her up for adoption. I'm so glad I kept that kid because she was the first part of my starting to change, even though it took me until I was 35 completely to get off of it. Then 6 years ago, I broke my arm real bad at work. It didn't heal and stuff. They gave me pain pills. But luckily I had Skylin who helped me so I did not abuse them. I had my kids. Michaela and Michael didn't know that Skylin was helping me, but they were a little younger. She was older, so she knew I needed help because she knew if I had them, I would abuse them. So she kept them. Every 6 hours, she would make sure if I needed one, she gave me one. Workman's Comp told me to get a medical marijuana card for the pain. No, that's not a smart idea. We're not going to do that. So I live with the pain, and it's okay. It swells up and stuff, but I have not went back to pain pills. I have not went back to drinking. And I stand here today knowing that my kids love me and that God has forgiven me, even though I have not forgiven myself yet. It's a work in progress. Me and Chelsea's talked about it. Thank you, Chelsea. She's helped me understand that I'm forgiven, and it's okay that no matter what I did, he forgives me. But like I told my kids, if he tells me I have to right my wrongs with him, I'm okay with that too. I will do whatever he needs me to do to right my wrongs that I did in the past, to know that I can live with God one day forever. Thank y'all so much. Have a great night.